I'm good. How are you?
Good.
One thing I just learned today. I was today years old. As every time I say hi to somebody, my voice go up 50 octaves. Oh, the things I find out about myself daily is funny to me. Welcome to Pop Yo Shit.
Thank you. Oh,
So
Tasha said we got
excited
to
to go.
tussle about the ending.
Huh?
Huh?
So we got some stuff to talk about.
Okay.
Oh yes, ma'am. Oh yes, ma'am. I couldn't get to my video. It's coming after this one, so I can record it. Ma'am,
Yes, ma'am.
we go sign. We starting with signed in ink.
Yes, I got a lot of flack about the ending.
But why? No, I'm not even giving you flack. I'm not gonna give you flack. I'm not gonna do
Okay.
that. I'm not. I'm not. But what I am gonna say is why?
Because one, I love to surprise people and give you unexpected. That's just one of the things. But two, it was kind of like a lesson, like get your shit together before it's too late to get your shit together.
And that's what I took from it.
Yeah.
That's what I took from it because I was like, it is too many things going on in this tattoo shop during this reality show. I was like,
And she
man.
was not trying to do any of that. She just wanted to run her business, be respectable. She was like, I don't want drama here. And you can't control other people.
I hope they put that lady up under. I hope in your mind she was up under the jail, up under hell. Because listen, she she brought me out.
In the near future, we might find out what happened to her.
Okay, okay, people. I'm just gonna tell y'all now. I'm gonna put y'all up on one. I'm gonna need y'all to read signed in ink. It's right. That's how you say the title, right?
Mm-hmm.
Signed in ink
Mm-hmm.
by this lady right here, Kaylynn. Huh? When I tell, okay, so y'all remember how, and I'm not gonna say I put y'all on, but I kind of lightweight did put y'all on the secrets of a billionaire bishop. I'm gonna put y'all on to this one because it's equally as damn crazy as that book too.
It's crazy and messy for no reason.
I was like, wait a minute, what is she who? And she met and what they married? What is open? Listen, I try not to give away. I probably gave away too much, but listen. I
Yes.
need to know more about the receptionist.
Uh-huh.
I need to know more about her.
Well, I tried to give like some background to her and how she kind of came to be.
I
I
need to
was,
know how her story ended. I
yeah.
need ends. I need to know more about is Vi gonna find love again?
I don't know yet. So honestly, when it first came out, I got barraged with, okay, it's a part two, right? It's a part two. That was not the end. That was not the I was like, no, that was the end. That was it. And so, like, literally, probably last week, I was like, oh, I can see that. Like, this whole idea came to my mind. So, I haven't started working on it yet, but I'm probably going to do it. It's going to more center around Emery, though.
Okay.
So, we'll see what happens.
Now wait a minute. So wait a minute. Where is the trample who wanted the tattoo on her areolas? Where the hell she at? Because
I
I
don't know.
wanted
We're going to have to
to
find her because, yeah, she wanted Vine bad. She was just
I
doing,
wanted
she
to
was
beat
just
her
being
ass.
extra. She was just being extra. She wanted him bad, but she didn't know what she didn't know. And that's why when she found out, she was like, oh, let me go on outside.
I listen. I don't think that story is over. I think it's more in you. That because it's so many things that you could go. I need to know if what was his name? Is it Kyle?
Kyle. Mm-hmm.
I need to know if he gonna find a happy ending.
I think he deserves one.
He does, because he's such a good guy.
He's a good guy. He was down for his girl.
But I know you are diabolical, so it probably won't be. I probably won't be a happy ending.
I might give Kyle a happy ending. He deserves one because he was just so stand up and she did him dirty as fuck.
I need Vaughn to be I need him to be all in his feelings. I need him not to date no more because you got what you fucking deserved. I hate to say it like that, but you played with that girl.
He did. He did. And we'll see how Vaughn, because Vaughn, we hope he learned his lesson. He stopped taking stuff for granted, but we'll see what happens.
Ooh, child. I'm just saying. But I did read the Zaddy, Satisfaction Guaranteed.
Yes. And how did you like him?
I did. Because he was like, ain't nobody going to get me to fall in love and this and that and this, and it's going to go this way. That lady said, no, sir. Assume the position. He was like, okay. Somebody
he wasn't used to that. He was used to being the one. He was used to being the one in control and making sure everybody was, satisfied. And she was like, I got this. This is what I want to do.
I just knew that was gonna be a diabolical end too, but I was like, because you right, like Sharice, Octavia, and the rest of them. Y'all always be having us on the floor somewhere, slammed up against the
wall. That's probably my only true. Well, no, that's my romance story. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna throw. And then for me, I was writing a romance. I didn't want to. He wasn't a cheater. It wasn't about that. They had their other issues to work through. Her basically her own mind and making her own doubt about. Well, this is just a job for him. It's just a job. So I wanted to show that side. Like, it doesn't always, the conflict in a relationship is not always outside.
Right. You're right. Like my auntie said, you're right. You're right. When you right, you right. When you wrong, you still right. So, okay. Let's talk about your collaboration with Octavia Grant.
Yeah.
So I had the pleasure of having her on, and we had a time.
Okay. I'm sure you did.
She said, if I couldn't write with nobody, she wanted to write with you.
And I was honored because honestly, I had been thinking about, like, I wanted to write with her because, we're in the group together. I love her writing. I read her books and we, all the time. And then we found out we share a birthday. So, she just happened to, she slid in my DM and was like, hey, I said, girl, yeah, I want to work with you. Sure. And then we do Freestyle Fridays. It was off of my freestyle. And I started telling her, I was like, this is what I got in my mind right now. And then she just started adding pieces to it as we chatting. And I was like, let's go. And it came up. Like, the ideas just kept coming like this. The way we wrote it, like, I couldn't ask her anything better. Because one, I didn't really have to wait. We both had other projects going on. But the way we wrote it, we basically just did it in tandem. She wrote part. She sent it to me. I fed off and I added to that. And I sent it to her. And then we just went back and forth until we were done.
Listen, she said, well, I had it ending one way, but Kaylynn changed it. I was like, I know. Excuse my language. You fucking lying. Ain't no damn way. It was. Read the book, y'all. Holiday 725.
Listen, so she was like, okay, we about wrapping it up. She was like, it's only fair that you end it since it started from your freestyle and blah, blah, blah. And then I think she started it. So I was like, okay. And as I was writing the last 2 or 3 chapters, I don't remember. And I was like, when I got to the end, I was like, she's gonna kill me. But yeah, this is how it's gotta go.
Listen, when I tell you we read that as a book club pick,
Mhm.
we was all in that thing.
I appreciate it. I'm glad y'all liked it. I love it. And we are working on flight 725 right now.
That was getting bridging into it. So wait a minute. So she had said that y'all gonna do this yearly and y'all gonna keep the 725.
Yep. So I was like, because I told her, I said, well, how about, because it was a great response. It got dropped on 725. It was like, hey, happy birthday to us. And I forgot, it wasn't too long. I was like, what if we do this every year? Because we can make 725 about a bunch of stuff.
Right.
And I'm like, we can keep this going. She was like, let's do it. So,
Yeah, listen. Sometimes you got to slide in somebody DMs to get things happening.
So then my first thought, I was like, let's do a flight 725. And then we start talking. We had some ideas. So we got a general idea of what is going to go on. And I was like, okay, let's go. So we are currently working on it.
No, so all new characters, right?
Sure.
I'm not playing with you. I'm not playing with you. Damn these questions. I'm not playing with you.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all better get that book. I'm saying.
It's a red-eye flight from New York to LA.
Y'all better get this book. I can't wait. Like, I'm on the ready when it's on 725. If the Lord says so, I'm gonna be right here. Let me read this right now. You know, some readers, you have become my auto buy reader. I mean author.
Oh, thank you.
And I mean, and no shade, no tea to anybody else because I have several. I have a long list.
Mm-hmm.
But when you know, and you know that anytime they write something, it only took me a few books, and I was like, "You guys, how did you know that you had it? How did you know that you had the gift of storytelling?" Or before I ask that, is storytelling and being an author the same thing to you?
No. Storytelling and being an author is not the same. I can tell a story, and not everyone can put it on paper and put it into a novel and make it come across the way you want it to, or give people the emotions and get them drawn into the pages like you need them to be to tell the story. Me telling a story is different from me basically putting it on paper and trying to putting the words so that people feel what you're saying in the pages. So no, it is a little bit different.
And that's why I asked, because I feel like it's different, but everybody has their own definition of what it is.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I could see that. But for me, I think there is a difference. Now, I used to write, I started writing stories back in middle school. I used to make up stuff for my friends to read. Of course, they weren't long, and it'd just be some made up mess, whatever, about somebody at school. I don't even remember the stories. But I always like writing. And honestly, I didn't used to like to read. I did start reading in high school, but I wasn't like, I gotta get a book, I'm gonna read. I didn't fall in love with reading until I read Why the Cage Bird Sings.
Okay.
So Maya Angelou, and it was more so for me, I think, in school they had you reading books. I didn't connect with any of those characters, and I didn't care. I didn't want to finish any of those books. Like, I was forced to read them. But I feel like when I read that, it was a black lady. It's about a black girl. And so then I was like, okay, I can read. But I still didn't pick it up like I read all the time until later on. But that was the book that made me fall in love with reading. And I had stopped writing. I used to write poetry, everything. And you just kind of get away from that. But I had always said, like, I want to write a book. It was just one of those, it was just a thought. And it when I saw and read Waiting to Exhale, because it was a everyday story about these friends and stuff that they went through, and I was like, I can write a book. So it still took me a long time to do so. And when I finally did write my book, my first book was Love with a Vengeance. Mm-hmm. I wrote it in 2007. It didn't get published until 2011 because I just sat on it. I wrote it. I did what I was, and it never went anywhere really until I found Create Space. That's how I published it. That. But at the time, in my book club, I told my friend Ebony, who we've been friends since like first grade, and I was like, I wrote this book. I want to publish it. And she was like, do it. We'll get behind you and everything. And honestly, I wrote it. The book club didn't know I wrote it. They thought they were getting like a blind, fresh read. Like they were being beta readers for somebody that they didn't know. Because Kaylynn Hunt is my pen name. So they didn't know who that was. And they read it. I had it printed out just like at Staples in a binder and sent it to them. And they all had it. And I was late for the meeting on purpose. They talked about the book. And then once they still didn't know that I wrote it until we had a party or something. And then I like released the cover. And that's when they found out it was me.
So was the reaction good or
it was good? Okay. They did give me some pointers. I added some stuff into the story before I actually published it because of the things that they said, which was good feedback. And honestly, the feedback, it wasn't spicy enough. When I wrote it though, in my head, I was like, my mama gonna read this. So I was like, okay, I'm not writing for her though. So I added, the little spicy stuff, which then that made it better.
How does your mom feel about your writing now?
So, okay. So my book, Complicated Simplicity, which is like a paranormal romance, I wrote that for her so she could read my writing because she would not read my books because she didn't want to read those parts. So Complicated Simplicity, I mean, they get into it, but not really. Like I don't want to tell the story, but I wrote that for her so she could read it. And then she actually went back and read my first book until she felt like she couldn't. And she just skipped the parts that she didn't want to read. So she loves it because I think it kind of surprised her. Like, not that she didn't think I could write, but she was like, you write really well. And I'm like, thank you. And for me, I was like, oh, well, thanks, Mom. But
go ahead.
She's always on social media. She's always on, like the other day when she was like, wait till you get to the ending. And I was like, she did already. That was her commenting on your post.
Not your mama was like, get to the ending, ma'am. Yeah. Thank you for the gift. Yes.
But my mother always read when I was little, but she read everything. She read all the little romance book. We talked about a while ago. So she was reading, all the romance books. She loved Beverly Jenkins and all this. So she's the one that really introduced books to me. She read all the time. She reads all the time. She reads all the time now. Like, she has read more books than me.
Do you still get a chance to read now that you are writing?
So I do, and um, one thing that I did the last part of December, I just took to like take I. It was like for me to decompress. I read like 4 or 5 books in a row, and because I knew the beginning of this year I needed to get on the ball with writing because I have a lot of projects in the pipeline, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna be able to read, so let me catch up on some reading, get some stuff out of the way, so I can write. So, and I still a part of a book club, so I read at least 1 book a month. I have to take a
Okay.
break to do that, and but I audiobooks are my friend. I listen to them at work, but I have to write, and if I realize I have to like take a break because it throws me off because I'll be stuck in this book that I read and I can't get back to my character.
Yeah. What? How do you balance home life? I mean, your day job and your night job, and then home life. How do you do that?
Honestly, so I have a pretty easy job, and I probably shouldn't be saying this out loud, but I write at work because I don't have nothing else to do. It actually comes pretty good. Like even if I can't, sometimes I can sit and write at work, and sometimes I'll be in a good groove, and I'm glad because there's no distractions. I'm sitting in my little corner by myself and typing away, and it actually is okay. But I've had days where I'm like, I can't write at work. Why are they making me work today? This is not what I came in here to do. So I have to make myself sit down and write sometimes because I get distracted. I'll be here, there, the TV. And I write. I have to have something on when I write. I usually listen to music. And I realized recently, like I got out of the routine that I used to do. I had my music on, or even a TV playing, a drink, and my computer, and I would sit at the desk and write, and that's what I need to do. But I just have to find time to write, and I so recently I said I'm dedicating one day that's all I do. So on Sundays, I sit here and I write or edit or do something to get me into that mode so I can get all of this out. Even if I write during the week, even if I don't, Sunday is my day to write.
Let everybody know. Just don't even ask.
Hmm. Yep.
Wow. Everybody has such a different process and how they approach their writing styles, but then the books be coming out phenomenal. And I'll be like, okay, well,
But yeah, what works because I'm not a planner. I'm not an outliner. I'm not none of that. Like it's just whatever happens is what happens on this paper. Like I will start with an idea of okay, this is who we have. This is what they're doing. And a lot of times it's more I I'm constantly thinking and having this stuff going on in my head. So I could be writing and trying to think of what the ending is supposed to be. Because once I get to the ending or I know what the ending is, I just got to get there. So a lot of times I get stalled trying to figure out where I'm going.
mhm.
But as long as if I come up with what I think is the perfect ending, it's a lot. I write a lot.
Mhm.
It's a lot more fluent that way.
So, do you have an idea of what the ending is going to be when you start your book? Because some people could just say, "Okay, I know it's going to start this way, but it's going to end this way." But you just no. It's just however.
It all depends. Sometimes I can write. It depends on the story because I have had the ending before I even started, and sometimes I'm character driven, sometimes I'm plot driven. I'm all over the place.
How when the character development that you give be so on point for me, for me.
Hmm.
How is that easy for you to do? Because some people have a problem with character development. And I'm not trying to compare you, but is that
Hmm.
easy for you?
I'm gonna say yes because I don't really think about it. I and I think it has to do with me being the type of reader that I am because I put into my books what I expect to get out of books, I guess.
Mhm.
So I need to know this about this character. I don't necessarily need to know this, and I might not put it in there, or I might just brush past certain things because it's not important.
Mhm.
So I I like to give a little background on the characters, and you kind of have a feel for their attitude,
Mhm.
maybe. And that's so no, and even so with Satisfaction Guaranteed, I did something a little different with my characters because I actually had a whole character profile that someone had sent me. I filled it out ahead of time, and it actually did help me a little bit because it gave me I was able to think about that stuff before I started writing Dem's character, even though I had his character in my head and I knew what he was, but to actually put it on paper and have to write it out, it helped me get get into his character and certain things that he would do or say.
Right, right. So Dim was three people, really.
He was his professional self. He had his thug side too. And then he was the romantic gentleman
Why we
also.
can't have him like in real life? That's who I need.
Yeah, listen, and people been saying, dude, I said if Dim was around, he would be mine. Let's start there.
Because I was gonna ask you who would be your book boyfriend in your catalog. Dim.
Dim for sure.
Who would be okay, book husband, book boyfriend, and then who you sliding with?
Ooh, so Dim would have to be my husband for sure. Boyfriend. Out of all of my um oh now that's hard. Mm. Cause Baxter in Complicated Simplicity, he's a nice guy too. But he couldn't be my husband. Dim would have to be my husband.
Dim was definitely my husband.
Dim would have to be my
Definitely.
husband. Baxter would probably be the boyfriend. What was the third one? What did you say?
Who you sliding with?
Emery.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Excuse the noise in the back. Again, I'm at home and my son feels like, oh, my mom's not doing anything.
Oh, I can't hear him, but I had to put my dogs up because I know that in the middle of this, somebody would hit the door or they would hear a noise outside, and it would be a mess. So it's fine.
So, which character in your catalog best represents you?
Savannah.
Out of which book?
She is out of my first book. It's just Love with a Vengeance. Well, Love with a Vengeance and Catching Dreams. So she's like an independent woman. She wasn't looking for love. She had a roster of men herself and didn't care about anybody. And then this dude comes along that she's like, oh, I kind of like him. And he kind of swept her off her feet, but he wasn't a good man either.
So, I mean, I know I still got books to read, but ma'am, I'm on it. I am on it. Uh, do you have to have titles or visuals before you write?
No. So Love with a Vengeance, I didn't have a title for that until I was almost done with the book.
Mm-hmm.
Um Signed in Ink. I didn't really know the title for that. And honestly, that book didn't turn out how I expected when I started writing. When I started writing Signed in Ink, No, it didn't even go anything like I thought it was gonna go. So when I started writing it, I was just gonna write like a story about some of the things that go on in a tattoo shop. Was at the time my significant other worked in a tattoo shop and I was in one all the time. So you would see different characters, different stuff that went on, and it was hilarious. And I was really just gonna write about the clients and the stuff that happened when they came in there and yeah, that's not how it happened.
I'm just saying. Again, people, if y'all have not read Signed in Ink, she's messy. I don't even know if is messy the best word, because it was chaos. It was messy, chaos, and unexpected. I wasn't ready. I just knew it was gonna end the way in my mind. I said, oh, they're gonna get it together. And then when I was like 80% in, I was like, they may not get it together. And then I kept saying, well, are they gonna get it together? Or maybe not. Or maybe she gonna go with the producer.
With the producer.
And I just knew. And then when I heard the shots, I was like, and then I was like, no, I know you lying. When I tell you the emotions that I went through with that book, and it's not many books I be like I'm getting ready to order it right now. So do I go to your website or where I get it at? Because I got to get it.
Yes, you can go to my website.
Listen, I got to get that book because when I tell you that is my favorite book right now.
Thank you.
I'm talking about a 2025. Like this might go in my top.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I keep telling people, I'm like, damn, it's gonna be. I wanted to make a book boyfriend, so that was my but so of course you read some of the other zaddies. We came up with the idea, and we all picked our own characters and what they did and who they would be, but they all centered around Zaddy Inc. So I was so excited about the I really wrote, and I didn't, it wasn't supposed to be as spicy as it was. So when I was writing it, and we were all in this chat, and I was like, y'all, this is this is erotica. So I'm like, this is not what I planned, but the story got it
nasty. He was nasty.
He was.
So wait, so the Josiah in the book was from
Lysandra's book.
Yeah, Lysandra's book.
When he said,
satisfaction,
he was like, get Josiah to do it. No.
Because I was like, I know Josiah.
Yes.
So Jim got his happily ever after.
He did. And he didn't even expect it. He wasn't even, That
warms my heart. My heart beats still. Because I was like, I love it. I do.
And it was fun for me to write the part where he didn't really know what to do, because he was like, she just gonna leave me. I already know this is what's happening. And it was fun to write the part where he gave her that whole experience at his house that she had never been to. And he's going through the house trying to show her, because he doesn't want her to say what he knows she's about to say. He knows she gonna break up with me, and I don't want her to do that.
But because I read Signed in Ink first, I had read Highway 725. I was like, she not gonna date him. She gonna leave him. That's what was going on in my head. I was like, wait, she is not gonna allow these people to be together.
I allowed those people to be together.
Child. Woo! I was like, listen, and then it was spicy. And he said, come. Wait a minute, come. Hold on. Where we going? Come. Sir. I mean, not a police. He was like, I saw the handcuffs on the side of the bed. I was like, what was y'all doing? Having a moment.
Yes, it's a Zaddy book.
Yes,
It's satisfaction guaranteed.
Kaylynn. How many times I called your name while I was reading this book? I was like, I couldn't record it because I was looking all kind of crazy. You know how you be in the middle of the night? I was in here. Oh, she go get this. She go get this video. She go get this video. She go get this video. So let's talk about ratings and reviews and things like that. How do you feel about that? How do you address the negative reviews, and what do you think you get out of all of the reviews and the videos and the reviews, written reviews?
So as far as like videos and feedback that I've been getting recently, there hasn't been any bad ones. And I appreciate all the reviews. I appreciate all of them. And honestly, I struggle with reviews. My books don't have a lot of reviews. I don't. Satisfaction Guaranteed might have hit 50 reviews by now. I don't know. I don't even think it's that many. So I get kind of frustrated with that because we know how Amazon works and the algorithm and so it's just like, I don't know, what do you do? Can you write a review? But the word of mouth and people picking it up, and I love all of that. Like I appreciate it. And as far as reviews, I read all of them. All the ones I see, I read them. Any negative, or if anyone has anything that they don't like about it, I take it and I read it and take it into consideration because everybody reads differently. They like different things. They interpret stuff differently. So it depends on what the issue is, because I look for things that, like, if it's structurally something that I need to write better or something that I need to improve, I want to know that. But a lot of times, so people don't like something, they just didn't like the way it ended, or something like that, or I didn't see that coming. Well, you weren't supposed to. So just depending on what the feedback is. But anything that, like, if people have a problem, if they said they had a problem understanding something, that I would look at that and try to figure out, okay, how can I structure it different? But I haven't had any of that. So I appreciate all feedback because, again, if it's something you don't like, I can't get better. So you do like it. I want to hear about all of it.
I love what reviews, and like, I'm an author. I am not. But what irritates me is when they read your whole story and then they give you a 1 star because they didn't like the character, or they didn't like how it ended, or they didn't like the subject matter in this book. That grinds my gears.
No, you know what grinds? I have 1-star reviews probably on every last one of my books with no review. It's just a 1-star. That irritates me more than what you said. If it was, oh, I didn't like the ending, okay, tell me why you don't like it. What didn't you like? You don't like the subject. Like, tell me why. But I have at least one 1-star review on almost all of them with no feedback.
How do you feel about trigger warnings?
I've had this conversation a few times. I don't think they are necessary all the time. Well, I understand the reason why there are trigger warnings. in some subject matters, I can appreciate some of the readers needing to know ahead of time. I think us as authors, because we are so descriptive, we put too many trigger warnings and too much detail into the trigger warnings because you basically tell the story. I don't read trigger warnings. I skip right past them when I'm read, like if I'm going to read, because I never had a trigger warning. I read whatever I read. If they died, they died. If they whatever went on, whatever went on. If I didn't like that part, ooh, I don't like that part, but I kept reading. So it's a new thing, and I know it's a change. So as of yet, I don't have any trigger warnings, but it's been a discussion that I had going around with people. A few. So I feel like my next book, one of my books that's come out, and it's actually a thriller, I probably will put a trigger warning or two.
I don't mind the trigger warnings. You can include it or not. It don't matter to me because I'm gonna read it regardless. But
Mhm.
I think that if it's some type of essay or DV, then yes, it should be a trigger warning, regardless if it's whatever the genre. But if the title says an erotica,
Oh yeah, no, I'm not.
why
I'm
are
not
we
one
putting
for
trigger
that.
warnings? Because they nasty anyway, so they gonna do what they doing. I
Right.
I just I don't understand like
hmm
if the title, if it, like whose book was it, Blossoms, and she was like, this is an urban erotica. I don't feel like she needs to put trigger warnings. I don't. I don't feel like uh if it's urban, if it says a mafia story, mafia people, they're violent.
Right.
I can understand if you said this is my trigger warning, that this is a dark romance. It's some unusual shit going on. I mean, I be want people to think and to use they brain. If you claim to read, you should be able
So
to
what I
comprehend.
think I'm gonna do, actually, I not this conversation. What I'm going to do is put, like, you know how they rate movies are might contain this. That's what I'm gonna do. It's not gonna be a trigger warning. This is rated mature. This is rated R. This is rated whatever. But yeah.
It be the people for me. Um, what have you learned about yourself as an author?
I have learned that well, that's not, I was gonna say that's not anything new. I procrastinate entirely too much. That's not new. I know that. As an author, um, I learned that I could work with other people because before I felt like, I don't want to deal with nobody else's attitude. I don't want to. So it's the cipher, the freestyle cipher. The first one was the first time I actually did a collaboration like that, and it was. I was like, oh, this is cool. But then my experience with Octavia was also awesome. So I'm like, this works. I can do this, and I can keep my style and still write with other people and it come out great, and I feel like last year, within the last 2 years, I've actually found like author friends
Mm-hmm.
because before, I knew people, I talked to people, but not like we were friends. I have
Mm-hmm.
all of the authors from the first freestyle cipher, we have a group chat and we talk every day. So that's like new to me and I like it.
Mm-hmm. To me, I feel like once you find that group of, like, I don't know, like for me, when I came on TikTok, I wasn't looking to find any friends. I didn't know nothing about other people. I just wanted to get some recommendations, see what everybody else was talking about. And I ended up with a whole book club, and I just don't feel like they my friends. That's family to me.
Family, right?
Because I mean, even though there's a few of us my age, and then there's a few of us a bit younger, we get along so well. One thing we don't do is the drama, not over here.
No.
But
Yeah.
everybody's allowed to have their opinion,
Right.
you know. And I think that's the way that it works for us, but we're so like-minded, you know. Everybody in my group knows, okay, I know this person is not gonna like it, and they know what I'm not gonna like, and I'd be like, girl, that may not be for you, but if you want to put
Mm-hmm.
your big girl panties on, then do it, you
Go
know, because
ahead.
I read everything, I'm one of those people that read just about everything,
Mm-hmm.
except for horror. I'm not at all. But how do you feel like that with your circle of friends? Do you feel like, okay, this is beneficial for me? They understand what I'm going through, or is it just a different type of relationship with friends that just happen to do the same thing?
Um, it's a little bit of both. And then I appreciate the fact that we're friends. We could talk about
It's
Chewy.
okay, you fine.
Sorry. So, but what is very valuable is like if I have an issue as an author, like certain things that I want that I can ask them, and I'm not worried about anybody stealing my idea. I'm not worried about them running and talking about me or
Right.
giving me, something that's not beneficial to me on purpose or anything like that. Like I can trust them and I can ask them and I can go to them if I have a problem with anything writing where I'm stuck or what I should do here. And we all brainstorm about, different things and different suggestions and pointing out, well, let me point you in this direction. Or, hey, y'all, I saw this. They taking submissions here and send it to them. Like, it's just like a whole team. It's like having a team without actually having a team.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
I appreciate them a lot.
Oh. Uh, what would your readers be shocked to know about you?
I'm shy.
Where? Where? I don't know why y'all tell me y'all be shy. I just want to know where.
I am.
Okay.
I am. At first, I am.
Or are you one of those people like me? Like I gotta feel your vibe. If your vibe is off, I'm very to
I
myself.
will sit and watch and not say anything for hours or yeah, it's one of those things. Like I have to get to know people. I have to observe my surroundings and see what the vibe is and how people come off so I know where I am and where I stand kind of situation.
See, somebody else said they shocked too. Look at Darrell. She said she's shocked too. I'm shocked too. Cause I was like, I know you lying, cause no ma'am.
I am.
Um when you first got your first book and you saw your name on the title, I just think that's the best question I could ask. What was your reaction? How did you feel about it?
I was still in shock. Like it was so like surreal just to actually have the book and look at it and I'm like, I have a book. And then my friend is on the cover. Like when I did my first cover, my friend Ebony, the book club president that pushed me to go ahead and do it. She was like, I'll do the modeling, I'll do this. So we had a whole photo shoot and all of that. Like the whole experience was great. Like it was a whole thing. And so for me to actually get it in hand and love the cover, like I love the cover, it was just really surreal. And I was so like I had a book release, I had a whole over 100 people, and it was just I had to shed some tears. So it was great. It was awesome.
How do you feel about when they be like, "Oh, that's my friend. She's the author."
It's funny. My friends will tell people I'm an author before I will. And it's great. I love it because I love that they find pride in telling people that. So I love it, and I also love it because I'm not one of the. I'm not gonna go up to you and say I'm an author here, buy my book, but they will. So I'm fine with that because they are my PR.
But I love when people do that. It'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
'cause I'd be my son or my dad would be like, "Who you on the phone with? What? Why you didn't answer my phone?" Because my father felt like he called 50, 11 times. If you don't answer that phone on that first time, something going on. He goes, "Oh, what? You're on the phone with them office?" Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I
Or you on that phone with that book club? Yes. Which y'all reading now? Like you gonna go read it, sir.
am.
Uh, um, what's your favorite trope to write?
I don't think in terms of tropes when I write. And honestly, like when I first started writing, I never thought about what my stories were doing. And tropes, I don't even think about tropes when I write them because a lot of them might have more than one trope. And I don't write to even put them in a category. I hate boxes. I don't like having to put them in a category. When I have to put my books on Amazon and you got to pick what category they go, I hate doing that. I don't like even putting them in a genre because I hate putting stuff in a box because a lot of my books kind of touch on a little bit of everything sometimes and it's hard for me to even decide. I don't know. So um but and then I can't even say I have a trope to write because even when I start a story one way, we end up somewhere else. So it's not even that trope.
So it might be enemies to lovers, and then they love, and then they back enemies again. So I've been trying to gather some information
Mm-hmm.
about what urban fiction is. So everybody has a different definition of urban fiction. Um, which
I
one does
had to ask that one time in a group because, and I think it was when I was trying to load, sign, and ink, and I was trying to decide what category it went in, and I was like, "What is urban fiction?" Because initially, when I think urban fiction, I always think street drug dealers, mafia, that type of urban fiction. But technically, urban fiction is anything in the city. So, and I'm like, do we think in terms urban just means black people, or are we thinking in terms of urban being like inner city stuff? Like, I don't know.
I am thinking that is all encompassing. Like it's all under. I think it's because it's black. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's my definition of it. But everybody else has different definitions. So I was just wondering how authors think about that because I know that with urban fiction, they don't want to be classified as it is drug dealers and gang banging and all of that. It's not. I think that me and Shannon was talking, and she was saying to her, contemporary is soft urban,
Okay.
and then the other stuff is just urban fiction, and then there's urban romance, soft urban romance, and then urban erotica, and then urban this. I just think that's just a fancy way of saying. I'm not even saying
Exactly.
fancy. It's just another word of saying black.
Mm-hmm. That's how I feel about it. Yeah, they urban is just means blacks, but if everyone doesn't think that, then what are like when you put it under urban, it's just one big umbrella. I feel like so.
Mhm. I do. I feel like that. But again, that's why I asked the question. I just want to know for myself if I'm wrong
Mm-hmm.
or right or indifferent or not. Um, what's the characteristics of a good character for you? What are the ingredients?
For me, a good character is someone that you can relate to,
Mhm.
someone that even if everything that they go through or have been through, something about them is familiar to you. So you can connect with that character. because that immerses you into the story.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like a lot of my main characters, I kind of make them like down to earth and likable.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I have characters that you don't like, but there's something about the characters that is familiar to you.
Right.
And I like to give characters, make them more realistic or like someone that you might know. And a lot of the times I draw off, like when I wrote Love with a Vengeance, a lot is a lot of the characters I took like pieces of people that I knew
Mm-hmm.
and kind of put them into those characters, and so they were familiar to me, and it made me easier to act. It was easier for me to actually write that story because I was drawn off of people I knew and different situations that went on, and I kind of put them together and mixed them up and changed them around. But so that made it, and being my first book, I drew off of other people's stories that I knew of.
Who was the hardest character for you to write?
The hardest character. I am going to say probably Sapphire, honestly. Because she was it was it kind of went against she was this independent, strong woman. She had her own stuff, and she was allowing these things that we all know she didn't deserve to happen or go on for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hard for me to allow that and act, and for her to be okay with it
Mm-hmm.
without, blowing up on Vaughn and all the other stuff that went on. And she still was the person trying to keep everything together and keep it cool. Where me in certain them situations, yeah, it wouldn't have been so nice. So, because I'm one of those, I'm especially if I feel like you disrespected me. If I get angry, everybody is gonna know it. It would be more like her last little hurrah all the time.
Me too. Me too. Who's the easiest character that you wrote?
That would be Savannah from Love with a Vengeance, because like I said, she's most like me, even though those situations didn't actually happen. It was more because, like, in my head, her whole attitude and everything was just me talking to, like, how, and it's funny that one, before the book club knew it was me, one of the girls had called somebody, was like, she sound like this sound like my actual name, Stacy. She does sound like Stacy, like the whole tone of her talking. And so she was probably the easiest.
Child. And I was gonna say, I just guessing. I didn't think that Sapphire was gonna be your hardest character because she was so easygoing and tried to do the right thing and be supportive. But I thought it was gonna be somebody like Dim.
Them wasn't hard to write because them them wasn't hard to write. I be dreaming about them.
Listen, listen.
Them was a whole fantasy in my head. No, he was not hard to write at all.
I would have thought it was somebody like him or something like that, but mm-mm. What's your favorite genre to write? Like, is it fiction? I mean, is it suspense or is it romance or is it fantasy? What's your favorite?
So right now, I'm gonna say right now, because I write all over the place. It just depends on what I'm feeling and how the characters come out and where the story goes. But right now, I'm kind of in my thriller bag. So, before I even started writing Highway 725 with Octavia, I had two thrillers I was working on kind of at the same time because I had these two storylines in my head. So but I had a computer issue. I lost some of my words and I had to start all over, which discouraged me. So I hadn't gotten started, but I was already kind of going that way. And then I wrote Highway 725. And now, like, a lot of the things that I keep coming back to is the thriller and the crime and the stuff like that, because I got some ideas and some stuff going on in my head and I want to get that out.
I'm gonna need that crime book.
So it's coming. So like I said, I have two, but one for sure is coming out in 2025. Now I'm shooting for April, but right now I can't tell you for sure if it's gonna make April. We gonna see, because that story and the characters keep like tapping me on the shoulder, and I was wanting to get it finished last year, but I did not. But I told myself at the end of 2024 that book is coming out this year, because it's something else. It's about a detective who lives in a rural town. Well, it ain't really rural. He lives in Oklahoma, and he lives in of course, it's like a predominantly white town that he lives in, and he's a detective, so he's dealing with a racist boss for one, and then he comes up on a scene and he encounters a serial killer, and he's telling the chief this is a serial killer, and he doesn't want to believe him. And so we go through him investigating these crimes. The first crime, and then another one comes up, and another one, and then the FBI comes in. But I can't tell you more because of course there's a twist, and of course there's a surprise. And that one is called, I actually have a title for that one. It's called Splitting Souls. I actually have a cover already. But I'm actually excited about that one because it's the twist when I want to get to the twist part.
Listen,